Greetings and welcome to the 73rd episode of Retro Rant. For this episode, we will be taking a look at a modern game with retro aesthetics, 2064 Read-Only Memories, released by Mid-Boss in 2015 for PC with console and Android iOS ports following. Reading from the official website, 2064 claims to be a cyberpunk point-and-click adventure inspired by the first Gabriel Knight that will take you on a journey of puzzle solving. Being an adventure game enthusiast and both a cyberpunk and Gabriel Knight fan, this sounds like a game that is right up my street, so I couldn't resist the chance to buy it and take it out for a spin. And boy, was I in for a ride.
The world thrives on a constant flow of groundbreaking technology. Cybernetic augmentation and genetic modification allow the repair and enhancement of almost any part of a human body. Millions of people jack into virtual worlds every day to work, play, and connect with one another with advanced brain-to-machine technology. Easier access to genetic modification leaves hybrids walking the streets, looking less human every day. However, some can't keep up with the fast-paced changes around them. They say that ROMs, now commonplace thanks to parallax, are leading humans to a place where we can never come back, losing the survival skills that we have relied on for millennia. Relationship organizational managers are compiled with virtual intelligence and can seem human-like in their interactions. But despite the marketing hype, at their core, they are only brainless machines. Organizations, like the Human Revolution, seek to slow the relentless pace of progress, fearing that unchecked technology will make us lose the very things that make us human. High above the rising tension below, a parallax engineer has blurred the line even further. And with this, humanity's destiny will be altered forever.
The game takes place quite obviously in 2064. You control a struggling and messy journalist, and Hayden, a friend of yours, goes missing. Since it is the future, there are robots around called ROMs. Hayden is a brilliant programmer, and one of his creations, a prototype ROM called Turing, manages to find you, and together you must unravel the mystery behind his disappearance. Although I am not a fan of console-like graphics, the visuals of 2064 can be described as likable, maybe even charming if you feel nostalgic for this kind of aesthetic. Unfortunately, the screen feels very cramped and claustrophobic, like being sandwiched between two sumo wrestler ROMs. The sound is a mixed bag. I instantly fell in love with the title track, but most of the other tracks range from uninspired to downright annoying. The sound effects are pretty forgettable as well, and after a while I started to abhor listening to the hussy jingle. The controls of the game feel pretty slow and clunky. On a positive note, the interface is quite intuitive, featuring a nice coin system, and you can also use a keyboard instead of a mouse to interact with the hotspots. That's where the positives end, however, since one of the basic problems of the game has to do with the speed of the text and moving from one sentence to the next. It is unbelievably slow and will start to get on your nerves pretty quickly. Combined with some of the problems we will see later on, this unresponsiveness makes for a delicious patience-testing combination. Of course, clunky controls can be absolutely forgiven, if not forgotten entirely, if a game offers a gripping storyline, memorable characters, witty dialogue, and clever puzzles. And 2064 fails spectacularly on each and every one of these aspects, as we shall soon see. As far as the characters are concerned, I have to recommend 2064 for the most annoying character award ever in the video gaming history. All of the characters are bland and superficial, being mostly chatty caricatures that will ramble about their life story to a stranger they just met. But the most annoying of them all is your trusty companion Turing. You see, this obnoxious piece of junk never stops talking, and he gets particularly blabbermouth about the most uninteresting and irrelevant to the storyline subjects, and of course, he never misses half an opportunity to talk about his favorite subject, himself. He just never shuts up, and I soon found myself wishing to turn him into a glorified dustbin. No wonder Hayden disappeared, he most probably wished to get away from this mechanical nuisance. Thanks to the aforementioned slow controls, skipping past the tedious dialogue becomes an Olympic exercise in frustration, and I found myself pressing the space bar faster than a heavy metal drummer. What is worse is that I am the kind of adventure gamer that likes to explore every dialogue option, and 2064 has the honor of being the first game that made me detest dialogues. Apart from the horrid writing, at least the voice acting is competently done. The gameplay is simply laughable, and the term gameplay is used very loosely here. There are some light and easy puzzles involved, but the game is essentially a walking simulator. I should also mention that the consequences of your dialogue choices are non-existent, so your input matters little, and if you do something outside of the thing Turing expects you to do, he scolds you and pushes you around in the right direction. Turing holds you by the hand for most of the game and tells you where to go and what to do, so you don't feel like a protagonist, more like Turing's useless sidekick that comes along for the ride. Of course, there is nothing wrong with walking simulators, and I quite often find myself enjoying those, but they have to offer a storyline that compels you to keep playing, and 2064 makes me prefer a visit to the dentist for root canal surgery without anesthesia. ROM also offers some mini-games to spice up the gameplay, and I actually found one of these distractions to be more fun than the main game. Although the storyline is as generic and uninspired as it gets, there are some things that I actually liked. Although the game's humor is a bit hit and miss, there were instances in which the writing gets quite funny. Carrying around a carton of super spoiled milk and using it on everything and everyone was also quite fun and easily the best part of the game for me. The LGBTQ theme of the game is very nice, and the vision of the future, where things aren't bleak and gritty, is a welcome deviation from the usual dark cyberpunk fare. Although, having said that, I cannot imagine a worse future for mankind than being annoyed by chatty robot pests who never shut up and push people around. The game's theme also deals with politics and ethics towards technology, which could have been quite interesting if only it was competently written and fleshed out. I also like the fact that if you repeat the same action, there is a different message, and I wish more games would have done that. Overall, this is a glorious stinker here, probably the worst walking simulator I have ever played. The only similarity between this and the first Gabriel Knight is that you can load both games on a computer. To add insult to injury, the game sells on GOG and itch for about €20 at the time of this review, which is simply a ludicrous price. Recommended only if you are a world-class masochist and want to test your limits. So that's it for now. Steer well clear of this festering heap of digital excrement, and I'll see you next time!
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to engage you in any sort of subterfuge, but I tend to ramble on a bit when I'm nervous. I have all the necessary protocols, but I've never actually spoken to another person besides Hayden until now.